right. All right. All right. All right. Let's let some people trickle in. What's up, everybody? While we're waiting on people to trickle in, comment where you're coming in from. I'm going to share the screen with the webinar slides. There's 2 or 3 people from the mastermind in the comments or in the chat box who are going to be answering questions as we rock through this. So if you got questions, drop them in the chat. And then at the end, we'll have time to, raise hand and do like actual Q&A from the chat box if there's something that's worth addressing to the group. Cool. Let's kick it then. Right. First things first, this is the mission of the War Room, right? So what is the War Room Mastermind? It is a community of like-minded service members, like-minded serious investors with a common military bond, right? So this is for people who want to come together, hold each other accountable to achieving their dreams, right? So I want to make sure that this is made clear, right? That this community is for service members and veterans, right? So this is the one thing within the military millionaire community that is strictly for service members and vets, right? So everything else in the community, totally open kimono for everyone. That is pretty much the only requirement for the War Room, right? So got to be service member or DD-214. Boom. Other than that, kicking it off, right? Who is Dave? And really just basic introduction stuff. So I'll let you guys read that if you would like. I can give you the wave tops. Served in the Marine Corps active duty for 13 years. 2015, I was broke. 2021, I was able to leave the military. You can use the millionaire, net worth, whatever, but really what I think is cool is that in that 6.5 years from when I learned about real estate to when I left active duty, I was able to leave active duty in a way that I not only haven't had to take a job, but I've paid somebody almost as much as what the Marine Corps was paying me as a W-2 employee since the day that I walked out of the military, or about 2 weeks after. And so I would consider that a success, right? So there's a lot more in that storyline, obviously, but this webinar is not about me. It's about you. This is the family, right? So over the years, right? Got a wife, some kids. We were in Hawaii, got a corgi, some guns, 4-wheeler, flamethrower. That's me. And I consider networking to be kind of my superpower, right? So here's some pictures over the years with Brandon Turner, David Green, Scott Trench, right? This is how I got tied into bigger pockets through being stationed in Hawaii. Good timing. Some presentations I've been able to give. Gotten to meet Jocko at Flip Hacking Live. Gotten to network with some UFC guys for those of you who are big in UFC. Had Robert Kiyosaki, Grant Cardone, and some other big players on the Military Millionaire podcast, and all of it really just through networking, right? So when you ask like what makes Dave and this community unique, I don't know that this really is what makes the community unique, but this is what makes Dave unique. I would consider this to be kind of my, this is my like credibility slide, right? Like Dave can network with people and meet people, right? So, but more importantly, the War Room. This is what you're all here for. So we're going to kick it with some testimonials first, and I'll just kind of let you guys read through these. The 2 there that are in white, if you were to go through the actual like paywall application, right? This is what you would see. These are Mike and Travis are 2 of the longer standing members that we've had in the War Room. These are 2 gentlemen that both friends, both stationed out in San Diego with me, and both wrote actual testimonial reviews that are on the page, right? The rest of these have no idea that they're on here. In fact, one of them is in the comments right now. And I told him today on the phone, I was like, you're probably going to see some comments from yourself on the testimonials. Thanks for those. But I literally just went into the Military Millionaire Facebook group, not the War Room Facebook group, and was like screenshotting comments from when the mastermind group has come up. And people have just been dropping comments. So, Sam down there, like, even at double the price, it's worth it. Adit, good friend of mine, and someone asked about the War Room. You can read his response there, right? His first year, group of friends, 227,000 net profit from a transaction with another War Room member post-tax. Put an offer on a 70-home mobile home park with another War Room member. Purchased 2 homes to flip. Projected net profit with another War Room member. Free free ticket to Flip Hacking Live, plugged into GoAbundance Emerge, and then, met Marty, who's also on this call. Started a lead gen company with another War Room member. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 War Room members that he's mentioned networking with on here. Awesome conversations and net worth, right? And there were other actually I almost put another testimonial from Adit on here, but I figured that would be kind of not fair to have him listed a couple times, right? And then Adam and Adit kind of just talking smack about squads and stuff, right? But that's kind of the vibe, right? Bunch of average millionaires. And it wasn't just one page. And actually, I actually built out like an entire Google Drive folder of these, but I only made 2 slides of it because I didn't want to make this get too crazy, right? So the one on the right is a testimonial after I was speaking at Flip Hacking Live in 2021. And I put it on there, not because that testimonial has anything to do with the War Room, because it's just about me speaking, but because Bill Allen, the owner of Flip Hacking Live and 7 Figure Flipping, is also a War Room member. So I thought it would be cool. That testimonial is actually from my speaker bio. Aaron Hale is a stud of a human. And if you don't know him, you should, and you'll get to if you join the War Room. Aaron, you can read his testimonial there. You can read Charlie's, you can read all of these, right? So, and then I put Sam's down there again, because it's concise and I think it's pretty cool. And this, as we get kind of into the culture and the code of the War Room, right? And then we'll dig into the structure and the format and exactly what you're going to get out of all this, which is the real value and the real meat and potatoes. But I just want to kind of get you guys into the vibes of who this community is, what this community is, before the how and the what you're getting, right? Because I think the culture piece is really what makes this community. I could use a lot of buzzwords there, but ultimately the best way to put it is the coolest thing that we do. This is, anyway, anyone I talk to, the War Room's super fulfilling, right? So this is actually fairly new as the cover photo for the War Room Facebook group, but these are, put them as the general orders, but basically like our almost like core values, guiding principles, if you will, right? Networking, eliminating bad debt, asset protection, use your W-2, your military income, to build passive income. Passive income is how you get out of, how you achieve financial freedom. Don't stop living along the way, right? Don't be that person who looks up 10 years from now and is like, I'm financially free, but I'm divorced and my health failed and everything else is just not where it should be. Health is wealth. Always play the long game, right? That's the way we look at things, right? Delayed gratification. Do what you say you will. Integrity. Be a go-giver. If you haven't read the book Go Giver, definitely recommend it. But, ultimately that just means give freely, give back, network, make connections, be a connector, right? And your biggest limitation is you. It's your mentality. It's up here, right? And we're going to help you get through those limiting beliefs, that imposter syndrome that I struggled with for such a long time. Yes, I know, rules, blah, nobody likes them, but you'll appreciate that most of our rules and regulations fall in the realm of just be a decent person, right? So in the War Room, most of the rules that we set up are actually like anti-rules. So we realize we have everything from like, I think the lowest current rank in the War Room is an E2, and we have 07s, but I want to say we might have either a selected 4 or already 08 hiding in there. That being said, I don't really know, because ranks out the window. We do not talk about it. It is Adam and Marty and Dave and Travis, and it is totally irrelevant what your rank is, because there is nothing within the War Room that says that a E3 cannot be just as successful with real estate as an E9. And if you allow that mentality to limit who you take advice from, you're only hindering yourself. And so we want to make sure that that's not something that we let. That's like the one piece of the military culture that has the ability to interfere inside of a mastermind group, right? Is if you let the dynamic of rank, which absolutely has its place inside of military culture, but in a mastermind, you want to take that part of the ego out of things, right? So nobody's off limits. If I say something that's incorrect, call me out on it, right? Not a pissing competition. I'm not the biggest fish in the war room. That gentleman, Bill Allen, is a bigger fish. There are bigger fish in the war room than I am, right? So it is what it is. Not a competition. Not a competition unless you're competing against yourself, right? That being said, it is always a competition, but logic always trumps emotion, right? Be open to suggestions. Get out of your comfort zone. Don't let your temper flare. I know we're service members, we're vets, hot-headed, it is what it is, but constructive criticism, right? We want to be, the group needs to approach things in a way that will better everybody. And luckily, we've never had any issues with any of this. Hold others accountable, be a good person. Don't sabotage anybody within the mastermind. There was only one time that I've ever had to ask anybody to leave, and ultimately they actually left before I had to make that request. And it wasn't really, it wasn't intentional. It was a real estate transaction, and unfortunately, one member in the mastermind didn't realize. Somebody brought up an issue with a real estate transaction with an agent, and somebody else mentioned it to an agent, and they didn't realize the same agent. Long story short, caused some hardship with the deal. And, it was just kind of one of those, like, you shouldn't have been talking about that specific transaction and the concerns that were brought up in private within the group, outside of the group, because it caused a lot of heartache outside, is what it is. But the member, basically was like, hey, that was on me, and owned it, is what it is. But that's kind of really the only piece there, is just, you gotta have each other's back, right? What we talk about in here, make sure that it stays in here. This group, the mindset, right? Yes, real estate investing is about real estate. Yes, it is about numbers. Yes, it is about everything else. But this group wasn't founded just to be a real estate group. It was also founded to be a life group, and a financial freedom group, and a get out of your head and achieve whatever you think is possible group, right? We aren't here because we want you to buy another house. We're here because we want you to exit the military someday, whether that's tomorrow or 40 years from now, or you already did, and be able to live life on your terms in the way that you envisioned that you would be able to live life, right? Doesn't matter if that's because you bought another house, or if that's because of whatever else you wanted it to be because of. We just want you to get out of your own way, right? And so if you struggle with imposter syndrome like I did for a long time and still do, which is the, oh my gosh, nobody's going to listen to me. What right do I have to teach this? Or, I can't write a book. Nobody's going to listen to me write a book, read my book. I don't have enough time to do that. I'm active duty. And the financial thermostat, which is, I make $50,000. And if I make 60, I'm going to lose 10. And if I make 40, I'll get back up to 50, right? I'm stuck at 50. No matter what I do, I only make $50,000. And you got to get out of those mindsets and grow. Group is going to help you craft that vision. It's going to help you develop your mindset. It's going to make you more efficient, more effective, more intentional. It is going to help you shed that skin and grow as a person, right? That's what we're here for. So why accountability? Well, because this study, which I apparently deleted the notes that I had left here that said where I, where the study was. But this study, which I will Google and tell you if you would like to see, basically talks about how many, they did a study at a college, and it's fairly well known actually, but to see how many people would succeed with their goals, right? And so what they did was they took a segment and they said, hey, create some goals for yourself. Don't write them down. Don't tell anyone. Just create some goals. And 54% of those people achieved their goals. And then they took another segment and said, write your goals down. Don't tell anyone. 76%. And the next one, hey, write your goals down and create some action commitments, right? I want to lose 10 pounds. Write that down. And I'm going to eat 2,000 calories a day and walk 10,000 steps. 64%, right? Ironically, a little bit less than just writing your goals, which is interesting. And then if you wrote them out, did the action commitments, and you told a friend, that's 80%. But if you wrote them out and you made the commitments for action, and then you had accountability. So instead of just telling a friend, you told somebody who was actually going to check up on you, right? They were going to touch base with you and ensure that you had followed through on that thing, or call you out if you hadn't, or just poke in and say, hey, did you do XYZ today like you said you were going to? Or you knew that you were going to have to report back to them and you had to dread whether or not you had done it. 95%, right? You know, for the men on this call who are married, are you more likely to do the dishes if your wife is home or out of town, right? You know, that's the mentality, right? Like, oh, nobody's home. Nobody's going to know if I do the dishes or not. Or, oh man, I'm going to have to answer for this. That's kind of the whole accountability piece, right? So 95% success rate. So you tell me if that extra 20 to 40%, depending on if you write them down or you just speak them into existence, is valuable. I think so. I mean, if you achieve 20% more of your goals simply from having somebody who cared enough to help you and talk to you about it, that's a lot of goals over the next few years. So how do we do this? Well, here's the big picture format of the mastermind. So every year we're going to have 1 to 2 in-person events. This year in May, we are doing an event in Tampa. And then we haven't decided where the fall event will be yet, to be determined. Might be San Diego, because we did one in Springfield last year. So Tampa, maybe San Diego. We're kind of picking segments where lots of people in the mastermind already live and own real estate, so we can tour the properties, maybe even stay in an Airbnb that they own. And then we gather at big real estate conferences. So Bigger Pockets conference, there were like 15 of us there. Flip Hacking Live, there'll be 10 or 20 of us there, so on and so forth. Monthly, you know, we bring in guest speakers. For a while, it was the first Saturday of every month was a guest speaker, which is why it's still listed as monthly. However, now you'll see that it's also listed as weekly under Saturday group calls, because I've been doing a lot more guest speakers because people like it. So we've had 3 or 4 guest speakers this month, and we've got 2 or 3 lined up for next month. So again, Saturday calls, every single Saturday morning, there's a group call, a lot of guest speaker calls, some member presentations. So a member presenting a deal or a topic that they're the subject matter expert on. Last week, I presented for almost 2 hours because I went way overkill on how to create a YouTube channel, right, from scratch. And I went through my analytics and how much I've made and what gear to buy and the lighting. And I mean, everything, right? Then we do breakout sessions. So we might do like short-term rentals, multifamily, and buy and hold, and split it into 3 groups. Or might do a prompt like, hey, 3 questions, randomized networking, get to know each other. And then on Thursdays, every Thursday is an office hours call. So as long as you make that 7 p.m. office hours call, this is all Central Time because that's where I live, you get an hour with me every Thursday, right? You can bring any question you got. You got a problem? We'll talk. You got a question? Happy to answer it. You want to just, if it's real estate, great. If it's life, awesome. If I can't answer it, probably someone else on the call who can. And if not, I have no problem picking up the phone, calling someone who might be able to answer it right there on the spot. Or I'll make an introduction to somebody who can. Those office hours calls are really there to be and ask me anything, right? The squad calls are there for the accountability calls. So we have like 18 or 19 squads right now. And so these calls are the small group, 5 to 8 people, and they meet, most of them weekly, some of them every other week, but most of them weekly. And it's going to be that small group, the accountability. And we're going to go over the template for those calls that we recommend here in just a second. And it's at your own pace. So we have a rotating list of like when different squads meet. You pick one to plug into kind of based on what squads have openings and what fits your time zone and your availability, right? And then periodically we have master classes. So currently our very own Adam Whitney, who is a stud, is running a 6-week masterclass on finding off-market deals. And so Adam has been running at 7 a.m. Eastern time on Saturday mornings for the last 3 weeks, and then the next 3 weeks running a masterclass on finding off-market deals. Adam runs a extremely successful 7-figure wholesaling company and wholesaling flipping off-market deals company, however you want to call it. And so Adam's teaching people how to find deals off market, right? And you can wholesale them, you can flip them, you can burr them, however you want to do with them once you find them. And then we're in the process of working on a short-term rental masterclass that 2 of our members who own a large amount of short-term rentals will be coming in to manage and teach on, Airbnb arbitrage and boutique hotels and managing an operations team for short-term rentals and how to build that out. And so the goal with these master classes is to get really deep in specific topics. Ultimately we'll do syndications, we'll do buy and holds with people who have been very successful there, so that, you have the opportunity to sit in them and do the Q&A, but then that curriculum will live on long-term, right? Okay, daily. Currently, and I will show you a little bit about this here in a minute, we have the Circle community, which is new. I just paid into this and built this over the last month or two. And we still have the private Facebook group. Those are the biggest networking opportunities, places to pass word. There are also a ton of other networking opportunities within the group, community, lots of local stuff, depending on where you live or where you're traveling to. All right, our format for the squad calls. We recommend you keep a facilitator. Well, you can see the roles there. And so the facilitator keeps you on track. Timekeeper keeps you within these time hacks down here. Note taker keeps notes. Hot seat is, in the hot seat. And on the right, you'll see this is actually a PDF. You can print it if you want, but it's also a fillable PDF that is available for download on the Circle community. And you can just download it and fill it out as you go. And a lot of groups don't stick to this all the time, right? As you get used to things, you get in your flow, you'll figure out what you like and don't like. But this is a great starting point. I recommend you at least start with it at the beginning, and this will keep you on track for that accountability. So you talk through like your high points and low points for the week for 5 minutes. Everybody just runs through real quick. This is my high, this is my low. Then for the next 10 minutes, you talk through what was your big goal for the last week? Did you accomplish it? Right? Boom. And then for the next 30 minutes, whoever that hot seat, knocked over my water. Whoever that hot seat is, talks through whatever they want to talk through, right? The hot seat's theirs. So if they have a problem in their business, or they have a problem with a real estate transaction, or, whatever that case may be, they can just talk through it right then and there. If they, whatever they want to bring up. I've been on these calls where, that's marital problems, or that's financial problems, or that's a problem with a specific deal, or should I hire someone, or should I fire someone, or how do I streamline this, or guys, I don't even know what the problem is. I just want to talk for the 30 minutes. I'm overwhelmed. Should I get out of the military, stay in the military? I mean, whatever you want to talk about, that hot seat is for you to help work through whatever you need to work through, and you rotate the hot seat. So every month or two, you get the hot seat in your squad. And then what I found is, for me and for a lot of other people, being in the hot seat is very, very beneficial, but being out of the hot seat and helping people through problems when they're in the hot seat is almost more beneficial. You're getting to help them problem solve, help them think through things, and it feels good, right? You're giving back. And then that last 15 minutes is talking through like this week's commitment and your MINs, which is your most important next steps, right? So what am I going to do over this next week to move me closer to my goals? And that's where you're committing for what you'll be talking about in that 5 to 15 minute window with your last week's accomplishments and goals, right? And that's where you'll be making those commitments that you'll be held accountable for. Now, we don't set any kind of punishment or anything, but some groups do. So currently, I'm not going to name names. One of them might be on this call. There's some people who are doing a run a mile every day for 30 days before 6:30 a.m. And if they don't do it, and apparently don't post it to Instagram, so I see it every day, then they owe $100, right? And I believe it's going to charity, but so far the two of them that I know have committed to this have done it every single day because I have seen it every morning. And that's awesome, right? They're on day 10, I think. And so that's really cool, right? 10 days of running a mile every day before 6:30 a.m. Two guys in the group crushing it. And they decided on their own that it would be $100 a day for missing. And that's cool. We've seen stuff like that before where if somebody, I was in a group once where a guy just kept failing to do what he needed to do for his taxes. And somebody basically was like, what would it take for you to do this? He's like, well, if I don't get it done by Monday of next week, I will donate $1,000 to a charity of your choice. I'm not saying you need to do that kind of stuff, but like different kinds of accountability. Every group has their own flavor. Figure out what works for you. Maybe it's one of the groups at one point. I know that it was whoever closes on whatever property or whatever the deal was, the other had to eat a bushel of 5 bananas, and they had like 30 minutes to do it, and they had to do it on the call. And my roommate at the time happened to lose, and I got to watch, and it was funny. So, not a very expensive mistake, but not a very enjoyable one either. Or not mistake, but loss. Okay, so here's some interesting stats, right? So I did a survey on just a simple Google form. We had 53 responses of the, at the point in time that this went out, I think there were 112 maybe members in the War Room. This was not quite a year ago, but close to a year ago. And 53 members responded. So just a little bit under half the group. And I guess it was closer to 2 years ago. So maybe more than that. Sorry. But of the 53 who responded, these were the results. And then you can see, if you look over here, you can see that basically these three right here, the pink, blue, and purple, which are now much larger, are basically the 250,000 and up net worth in the green, right? And so, but you can see that they basically took over, right? So 20.8% of people who responded to the survey had their net worth increase to hit over that $1 million mark since joining. Sorry, it wasn't 2 years ago. It was 2 years. I'm reading things wrong. This survey was taken about a year ago. I was right, but the mastermind had only existed for 2 years when the survey went out. Right. So 20.8% had their net worth increased to over that $1 million threshold. Of the 20 members who joined with a net worth of under 250, 12 of them are already above that bracket. Right. So 12 of the 20 have passed that bracket already. Total deals since joining, 11.4% had achieved 5 to 10 deals since joining. 5.6 had increased to 10 to 25. Almost 4% had increased to 25. So, basically just saying, hey, like of the 53 people who took the survey, a lot of them have really seen some pretty drastic success, right? It's hard to make a bunch of people fill out a survey. All I can really stick to is that top number there. 20% of the people who took this said their net worth went up to $1 million since they joined. And it's only been around for 2 years. So, is what it is. Pretty cool community. And I know that I didn't fill that out. A whole lot of other people didn't fill that out. Now, this was going to just be a blank slide that just had the stupid dad joke there in the middle about the circle community until I realized that the way that the webinars are run through Zoom, if I wanted to stop what I'm currently sharing and go share the website and scroll through the website, A, it would take, I'd ramble for way longer than I need to. And B, it just would not flow. So I just took these two screenshots right here to give you a very basic idea, but doesn't do it justice. So I apologize for that. This was just a last minute endeavor as I was trying to get the webinar. When I was doing the practice webinar, I was like, man, this is really clunky if I want to switch over to the website, because that was my plan. And so this is what you get. But you'll see over here, this is the circle community. So when you join, you would go over to the onboarding section for start here. Stroke your ego is my way of saying introduce yourself, right? Brag about what you've done, your story, right? These are all the discounts and resources. We'll cover some of those here in a minute, but we've negotiated some pretty sweet discounts and some resources like a free consultation with my asset protection team, free access to the 500K challenge. It's normally $497. Any problems you're having or questions, right? We got some wins to share, some news, open forum. This is just, a chat thread, right? Talk about whatever you want. We're talk about some wholesaling, long-term, different niches, all the group calls. So this replaced like Google Calendar and everything. These are where all the master classes will be. So currently the wholesaling one, creating a recommended reading list. And then these are the, this is where all the templates are held for the squad. This is where you'll go to join and change squads. And then there will be a whole bunch of these, but you'll only see one. When you join a squad, you'll be invited into the secret. That's how they're set up in the system, where you can only see it once you've been invited into it. And so while I can see like 20 different squads, you will only see the one that you're invited into. And then over here, this is just how it looks, when it's set up. So you see the office hours call tomorrow, Adam's masterclass. This white squad call right here is a secret call that I can see because I'm an admin, but white squad has a 7 a.m. call on Saturday with their squad. And that's a squad call that only white squad and me as an admin can see. Self-directed IRA, Advent IRA is presenting on Saturday. And then the next office hours call. So that's kind of a sneak peek into the circle community. That does not really do it justice, but it is awesome. And I'm happy to talk through a little bit more of that. And if we have some time and you guys want, I'll share a little bit more and click through it. I just don't want to spend a lot of time tinkering around with it right now and then try to come back to the webinar and just mess some stuff up. So competition. So something that I'm trying to build out, even though I know I said got to compete against yourself, is that we are working on like a net worth tracking, average cash flow, gross value of real estate, volunteer hours, like basically at the end of every year, filling this out so that we can kind of track year over year how the War Room as a whole is doing, how squad versus squad is doing. If you put in your squad color, we can say, hey, green squad did this, white squad did this, gray squad did this. And we can track like, hey, wow, look how well this squad did. So you can compete, right? Just bragging rights. At the end of the day, everybody wins, right? And that's the idea, right? It's obviously it's all friendly, but the point is to, we start at the delta. We say, hey, whose net worth or what squad's net worth increased the most this year, or passive income increased the most, or amount of real estate was purchased, right? Those are like the fun, friendly kind of competition type things that we're trying to breed. Okay, so far, I'll let you read that while I take a drink so my voice doesn't die on me. This is what we covered so far today. Our mission, some credibility and testimonial crap, right? That's just kind of my style to, I recognize that me showing pictures of like, wow, look, this is me and Jocko. Cool. Whatever. Our code, right? The culture, general orders, rules and regulations, mindset, right? That's more important than buying a house. Buying a house is cool, but having your mindset right is what gets you in the door, right? That's what gets you where you need to be. The importance of accountability, why masterminds matter. Mastermind format, weekly, monthly, yearly battle rhythm, right? Those accountability squad calls and the format for them, why they're important, how they work. The War Room success stats, or at least some of them, because I'll tell you that the most successful people, I can see who filled that out, right? There's a name. The guys like the big fish they didn't fill out the form, right? Not to say, not to discredit, right? Just saying, like, I didn't convince the guy running the $10 million business to like, hey, can you stop and fill out this form real quick to answer a couple questions about what your net worth did in the last year or two? Got more important things to do. So that's the success stats from what was filled out on the form. I'd be willing to bet that if the entire group filled it out, it'd actually be higher. Bet it's skewed low. Because, I don't know where I'm sure there was going to be a joke there, but anyway, the new circle.so community, which is awesome. You should definitely jump in there. Fostering friendly competition, right? So here's the important thing, right? Because I can tell you all this stuff and I'm going to get into what you actually get with the membership right now. But before we get into that, the reality is that if these are not yeses, it doesn't really matter what you get with the membership, right? Because if you don't believe in yourself, you're not going to put in the work, then I don't know that I can help you. And it is what it is, right? So do you believe that an accountability group can help you achieve? And you don't have to answer in the chat. I mean, if you want to, feel free, right? But answer yourself, right? You're muted. Say it out loud, right? Scream it. Woo! I don't know. What would Grant Cardone make you do? Yell and high five yourself in the mirror? Do you believe an accountability group can help you achieve your goals? I do. Can you see yourself benefiting from access to guest speakers and masterclasses? I benefit from it all the time, right? Would you benefit from belonging to a positive military community, right? A lot of us, if you're a veteran, aren't really around that military community anymore, right? You don't have that bond. Getting out, that was the hardest thing, was not being near that community anymore. I miss it, right? So the War Room has been huge for me in that regard. So yes, are you willing to put in the work in yourself to achieve the success that you want? I mean, you showed up here. I'd be willing to bet that says something to me, right? Do you believe in yourself? I think deep down we all do, right? So I think you do. So here's what you get. What do you get? Direct access to me, right? 2 calls per week. Not that I am the reason for you to join this, but you get direct access to me. 2 calls per week at least in the Facebook group. I'm all over the Facebook group and all over the Circle community. If you reach out, you got my attention. I pay more attention and respond more in and around the War Room group than really any other place within my community, because it's just, I know that people in the War Room aren't, they're not tire kickers. They're serious. They're not, it's a value exchange, right? They are, every conversation, every networking opportunity I've had in the War Room has been a net positive for me. And I'm sure, I'd like to believe it's a net positive for them as well. And so, absolutely, right? And I am not saying that I am worth $2,000 a month. I'm saying that I believe I can bring you $2,000 a month worth of value through networking connections to solve problems you have when they are outside of the scope of what I'm capable of. I am sure that I bring some form of value to that, toward that equation. But I think that where I shine is that networker that we talked about earlier, right? If I don't know the answer, I know someone who does, and I'll get you an answer. Okay. Direct access to military real estate investors who are crushing it at the highest level. They're all over the group. We got them. And I have yet to see or hear of a situation within the War Room where they aren't willing to help you or talk to you. Okay. Discounts, free consultations. So that $23.97 number, that is literally the direct dollar discount, right? So that is the 500K challenge is $497 and it is free for War Room members. So I took that $497 and added it here. If whatever it is like a discounted percentage thing, or you might get this if you do this, I didn't add it in. I just added in the hey, if you click this button and buy this thing, it is this exact dollar amount so that I can quantify it. That's what's on there. So it's actually more than that. I should probably have done $23.97 plus, but you get the idea. Access to the past recorded calls. I put $1,500. There's 50 plus calls in there from recorded guest speakers, right? So there's some guys in there like David Osborne, founder of GoBundance, worth $200 million. Brandon Turner, Matt Faircloth, Jay Scott, Scott Trench, Ryan Dossey, Bill Allen. I mean, pretty loaded group of guest speakers. Hal Elrod's publisher, The Miracle Morning. Got some pretty cool ones coming down the pipe. Ryan Lubin from Action Academy. Anyway, go on and on, right? That's only going to keep climbing because the level of people we're bringing in as guest speakers is improving as well, right? You get free access to my From Zero to One, my Real Estate Investing for Beginners course. You get free access to my Off Market Deals course. There's a code when you first join that you'll get free access to both of those. You'll get my personal net worth tracking template that I just redesigned this last month. Everybody seems to like it so far. It's the one that I use to track. Really, the only redesign that happened is I paid somebody to make it look fancy and function a little bit better than the one I had. All the formulas are the same, but it is less extra clunky stuff that you don't need. And then whatever else I've added since this presentation was built, that's a line that's on there because I'm going to use this presentation again, and I'm sure stuff will get added. So the total direct one-time cost savings is $4,241 plus that $2,000 a month of community access and everything else, which is equal to the reason of that all of my mentors tell me to just raise the price significantly, right? I mean, that right there is, you know, what, $24,000, $28,241 a year, right? Or any way you slice it, that is more, dramatically more than what we ask for this. And you'll see in a minute, like it's stupid. The value is the scale's way off, right? So, but wait, additional resources, right? So the Circle community, the private Facebook group, the Mastermind has a Google Drive with a bunch of forms of docs. And I'm actually going to be creating a spot in Circle where people can upload templates for, like, I've got a private lender template PowerPoint deck you can build. I've got, forms for first position deed of trust, second position deed of trust, promissory notes, notice of intents, contracts, all the things. And everybody else does too. And so we're going to create a spot where we can have like a hub for different kinds of docs, for different kinds of things, to, templates for things to help people out, right? There's an email address that you can reach out. I probably don't need to keep that on this slide, but it's still there. So, and then I put that back down there again, just to say, hey, the reason, this is why mentors tell me to raise the price. And I just put that on there to reiterate because I thought it was funny, because I'm about to talk through this, which is hilarious. These are actual screenshots. Yes, I got their permission to share this, that have come in over the last year about mentors and coaches saying I need to increase the price, right? These are just casual text conversations. These are not like actual coaching conversations that I've paid for. This isn't like Brandon Turner telling me that I need to up the price to the cost of the average car payment like a couple months ago. This isn't my executive coach telling me that the price needs to be 4 or 5 times what it is right now. This is Bill Allen, who is actually a member, telling me that I need to increase the price, right? Which is hilarious because he's paying and telling me I should increase the price. And Brian Lubin, who is not a member, he's speaking this month, but he's not even eligible for it, who saw in the end of December, I posted, hey, Brandon Turner's coming to speak in the next week. If you're not a member and you're interested in the War Room, you should join before Brandon comes to speaks so you could hear his presentation, which was awesome, by the way. And he looked at the offer, and that's the text I got. January 1st, 11:01 a.m. If you don't raise your prices, I'm fighting you. $100 a month, bro. So I just want to show you, those are just random text messages from 2 people that are somewhat well known in the space saying, boom. So in case you didn't catch on, that's the current price for the War Room Mastermind. And you'll see the little asterisk down there, that ends January 31st. So January 31st, The monthly price is going to go to $150 a month. However, you can also pay for the year up front, $1,000 per year. That price is not going to change. That being said, there is a discount right now. So the $100 a month is going to go up to $150 a month starting February 1. The $1,000 a year will stay. But wait, there's more. If you were to pay by midnight on Saturday, then you use the code webinar, you'll get $50 off month 1 or $100 off year 1, right? So pay by if you pay by midnight on Saturday, you use the code webinar, all caps, and you go annual, it's $900 for the first year, and then $1,000 after that. And if you pay monthly, it'll be $50 for month 1 and $100 monthly after that. And the, I believe, very last slide. Oh, second to last slide. So the I guarantee it, right? You see it says never claimed. So we have a 30-day money back guarantee. The fine print is that it's action-based. In order to be eligible, you got to make it to 50% of the calls, right? The office hours, Saturday, and squad calls. You got to make it to 50% of all of them, right? Got to give it a fair shake. Don't join if you're not willing to show up and invest in yourself. Now, I will say this. If you pay the annual membership up front, even if you fail to meet the 30-day money back guarantee, right? If you ask for your money back within that 30 days and you didn't do the 50% of whatever, so I'm like, well, you didn't really meet the 30-day requirement right now. If you don't ask for your money back until like day 90, sorry. But if you ask for your money back within that 30 days and you don't meet that 50% or whatever, then, you know, I'll refund everything but that first month, right? Like whatever. Or I don't even know if I can do that in the system. I might have to refund the whole thing. I don't care. And the reason I don't care is this. We've been around since October of 2019. There have been over 200 people in the War Room. There's currently 178, right? Over time, people just kind of in and out, right? We've had probably 20 that have, you know, either gotten out of real estate or whatever over time. Not a single person, not to say that a single person has not ever qualified for this. Not a single person has ever asked me for their money back. Nobody's ever reached out. Nobody has ever once said, hey, this wasn't worth the $100. This wasn't worth the $1,000. Can I take advantage of the guarantee? Not once. Nobody's ever hit me up about that. So I'm not really worried about it. Maybe somebody on this webinar will be the first. I don't know, but I'm okay with betting on that, right? So here's the deal. Oh, my note says, drop the link in the chat, you dolt. So let me do that. Oh, I will drop that link in the chat in a second. Drop any questions you have in the chat. Raise your hand if you'd like. And I'm going to stop sharing my screen in just a second, and I will share this link. But basically, normally there's an application funnel, onboarding call, right? So there's like but there's an application page, and then you go through that. As long as you're a service member or veteran, it'll allow you through to the paywall, and then you pay and you're enrolled and everything's great. However, you just survived almost an hour on a webinar with me. We've got most of your information, right? The benefit to the application is really that I'll have information about like location and stuff for your welcome aboard, like new member post, but we can get that on the back end. Not a big deal. It'll be all in your onboarding stuff anyway. So if you go to this link, which I will drop in the chat in just a second, you can sign up. If you use that code webinar, you get 50% off month 1. And if you choose the annual option, you get $100 off the annual membership. And if you don't, cool. And if you decide that you want to join after midnight on Saturday, then you don't get the bonus or the discount, but you still get to join. And if you wait until January 31st, or till February 1st, the monthly membership will be $150 a month, but the annual price will still be that $1,000 a month. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen and let's answer some questions. I see that the chat's been popping off. What do you guys got?
Hey Dave, someone in the chat asked if they sign up now and it's $100, it'll be $100 from now on, correct?
Yeah, you all get grandfathered. Oh, sorry. So Wesley, the very Teachable is a weird system. I'm actually in the process of, I'm going to move it. The very top button, if you click it, it's the monthly, but if you scroll down just a little bit, it'll have a monthly and an annual button, and you just click the annual button down there. I don't know why the top button doesn't take you to both options, and there's not like a way for me to change it. It's either monthly or annual. It's not both. Yeah, Adam, good point. Yeah, almost everything is scheduled either, most of the calls are 8 a.m. Saturday morning Central. This is what you should be seeing. Okay, so if you click this one right here in the middle, join the War Room Mastermind, it will take you to the monthly. But if you scroll down, you got $100 a month, $1,000 a year, invest in yourself, and then same thing right there. And you can just choose either one. And then when you get to, just so you guys all see it, you click invest in yourself, and it'll take you through. And right here is where you will type, make sure everything's working, just so I'm not losing my mind. Yep. Boom. Hopefully that answers the question. Yeah, so Saturdays, it's 8 a.m. Central for the group call. Thursdays is 7 p.m. for the office hours. And then the squad calls are really, Franklin, they're really flexible around like what your time schedule is. It's rare that we do like the guest speaker calls during the week. The only times that it happens is like, Brandon Turner, they gave me a window. They were like, he can talk at this time. Okay, we'll take it, right? I'm not gonna say no. Take it or leave it. And then at that point, we record the calls, and they're all published to the universe, which was Teachable, but now we're moving it all into Circle. But that's the kind of the shtick there. Marty, did I miss anything? You're probably the only person in here who can unmute.
No, man, I think you hit on it. I guess the only thing that I would say is a reminder of, if people sign up for month to month, there's no contract. So if they get 6 months down the road and decide it's not for them, there's always an easy exit plan.
That's true. It's very true. Yep. You just click that button, and then we say, sad to see you go. It doesn't happen very often, but it does happen. No. And from all of the people that I've asked for feedback on, most of the time that somebody does cancel their membership, the reason is either that they are not really investing in real estate anymore, or they just, they're like going on a deployment, or, life came up and they just aren't making it to anything. In fact, it's funny. I was telling Adam this morning, I had a gentleman who 2 months ago, he canceled his membership for various reasons. And then on Monday, he and I were on a call, and he was like, hey, so can I join again? I miss it. And he paid for his annual membership 2 nights ago. So we got off the phone. He paid for an annual membership Monday and back in. So like, of course, man, we'd love to have you back. So that's always fun. I'm like, oh yeah, you were out for like a month, but of course we'll take you back. So
I would say that happens more often than just people leaving and then coming back.
Yeah, that's actually pretty valid. We've got a couple. Now that you say that out loud, there's quite a few floating around in the group that have had to disappear for a deployment or training or something, and then pop back in. Oh yeah, no. So Franklin, yeah, you're grandfathered in. If you pay before February or before February 1st, if you lock in that payment before the monthly goes up, you will continue to pay whatever amount you locked in then before whatever blah 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 blah. Yeah, whatever you lock in at pricing stays. So unless you leave, if you leave and come back, then that's sorry, the system is what it is. So it's not gonna, I don't know if I can grandfather at that point, but Thanks, Wade. Appreciate it. Yeah, I'm definitely a hand gesture, and Ryan's a good dude. So we've even got the red beard thing going on. I just don't have the McLaren yet. But yeah, David, no, we don't really necessarily have a criteria for the guest speakers. It's, you know, what people want to have and see, and then I go and hunt down either the specific person they asked for, or if it's a topic, I go and hunt down somebody somewhat high level that I either know personally on that topic, or do some homework, ask around, and get some recommendations for that topic, and then bring them in. Yeah, we've got some members we've got members who joined and didn't have a single house. We've got everything from haven't bought their first house and just looking to get in the community, get started, right, to own 1 or 2 doors, to guys with 1,000 plus. You know, I mean, we got people who are just absolutely crushing it in real estate, and you got people who are really, really new. And the cool thing is that, you know, while the group is not going to like drop everything and hold your hand through every single step of the way, the group is going to help you and point you in the right direction all the way, right? So you need a resource, we got you. You need a book recommendation, got you. You got questions on a specific topic, got you. You need, you know, I guarantee there's a speaker presentation that answers almost any question you got by now. And if not, then we'll bring that speaker in. So yeah, we've got every experience level. We want to see you all succeed. Travis, you are commenting some really awesome things, but only me and Marty can see it. You're sending it to the hosts. And the recording for the webinar will go out over the next day or two as well. So not that any of you really need that because you were here, but if you want to see the recording as well, that will happen. And if you got questions, shoot them over to that email. And remember, code is webinar for that discount. And I'll make sure I send out that link to join again as well over the next day or two. So really excited to talk to all of you. And I'm flattered that you all showed up, and I really appreciate it. So thank you for your time today. And I'm excited to talk to you all. So have a great day, and I'll catch you all on the flip side. I'm gonna go drive home before the sun goes down, because, you know, there's all this snow and stuff in Missouri, and drivers here don't know how to drive. Have a great day.